New Burn Barrel merch, Albie, is in. I'm wearing some. This is the all-you-can-eat t-shirt. I think this is a great logo. I like this shirt. I think it's a handsome-looking shirt. You've got a very sensitive...
The 19th century scientist shirt. This isn't insensitive.
It's insensitive.
Google Gemini made this.
That is.
Google Gemini made this an accurate portrayal of a 19th century scientist.
This stuff is available. There's a Milfound one down here. There's another Burn Barrel, all-you-can-eat one. There's a Shathead shirt. It's great stuff, Ellie.
It's fun. Yeah, people should definitely check that
It
out.
is. And it's half the cost of like all Barstool stuff. Not even. It's more than half the cost.
Yeah,
we don't make any money on it. So
we want you guys to enjoy wearing it.
If I ever see somebody out in public wearing it, I'm going to be on you. I'll have you know that.
Yeah. So, but there is, by the way, too. I'm thinking of it because I'm seeing your shirt. There's a new All You Can Eat podcast out.
Oh yeah,
as a matter of fact. So
that's right. Important issues discussed. Some kudos given today. It's always controversial. Always controversial. Okay. Speaking of, I did actually mention this on the All You Can Eat podcast that I was going to start here. I've obtained audio of a certain transaction at a certain grocer's freezer.
Mm-hmm. Is this illegally recorded?
I've obtained audio.
Okay.
So this is what I would say. And we talked about it on the All You Can Eat podcast. When you're at the grocer's freezer, sometimes I'll just say it like this. This is typical. My son was with me for this. Typical D-team behavior when there's young people working, and what they decide is since they're bright and shiny and new, that what they have to say is really interesting and entertaining for everybody else.
Mm-hmm. So
these two, I could tell when I was 3 people away from hitting the cash, the register guy and the bagger, I could tell that the bits were coming because these two were very impressed with each other. Anyway, I told my son, get ready for the bits because the bits are coming as soon as we get there. We get there and it's Bitsville between these two guys.
Avoiding direct...
Oh, that's not him. That's Big Chick Tapper. Hold on. Here's the bits.
I was like, I'm gonna wear my pajamas that I've had for like a year. And I put them on, and it was like the best sleep I had in months.
I don't wear it. Why would you sleep in jeans, number one?
Because I didn't really think about it.
And number two, why would you sleep in gum pants? Come on.
Okay, I'm tired now. I'm gonna go to bed and not change.
Fair enough. Like those jeans I saw you wearing the other night, like the black jeans.
I'm wearing those same ones right now.
Okay, so what needs to happen is there needs to be, you know how there's secret shoppers anywhere you've worked, the corporate will send people in to get checked. There needs to be somebody in, and somebody needs to tase one of these guys and have them wriggle around.
Secret shoppers usually are empowered to tase people.
Because this, those jeans bits, you can't have that. It's terrible. But I knew because they're D-teamers. I freaking knew it.
But yeah, you shouldn't really be talking about your jeans.
But also, they think they're being entertaining to us. And they're not. I could care less. All I could do, if I could have the opportunity to do it, I would call in an airstrike on that location and have it wipe me out happily. And it's like, I understand you guys are new, and so you think because we're forced to stand here while you transact, while that's still a thing, and it's not going to be for long, that, we're into... Somebody needs, where's your parent? I assume that dad's not part of the raising thing, because dad would tell you to shut up. You're not special. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. They're pretending. The guy that you're doing your jeans bit in front of, or you're talking about how you only use red pens because blue pens make you feel like you're a cop, whatever little ditty bit you have going, the guy who's trying to ring up his bananas that he can't really afford in between chemo visits doesn't give an F about anything. You've lived no life, kid, punk. So don't say a goddamn thing. You have 0 things to say. You have nothing to say. I'm not trying to crib Louis C.K. here, but it's true. If you're 17 years old, shut up. You've got nothing. You've got absolutely nothing. You've got no life experience. You've got no heartache, no real heartbreak, no stories of redemption, no stories of rejection, nothing. It doesn't matter. You've not been in the game yet. And somebody should be telling you that. Your job is to shut the F up, process the food, and don't spend an iota of time talking about like your bits on pants and my philosophy. You don't have a philosophy. You have nothing. You have nothing.
Dr. Shattuck says in the chat, says, I think what needs to happen is that Tom needs a hobby or a job.
How dare you? No, I this is a service. There's nothing more. And this is not my first. I could tell from a mile away. Who is telling these kids that what they're doing is the first time it's being done? I mean, I tell my kids, oh, there's no way. My son, James, who was with me, who is with the person I obtained the thing from, he's 12 years old. And he already knows not to be a cliche pain in the ass. Just don't be a cliche. Don't do it. Don't, no bits, no something. Do your job and shut up. Shut up. I know that you think you're too good for the position you're in, but you're not. And it's such a big difference. Because all there was, the place was teaming with D-teamers, and so I knew I was screwed. There's going to be bits, and there's going to be whatever. Conversely, whatever day it snowed, what was that, Tuesday or whatever? It snowed one day this week.
Yeah.
Up here. This is when you go in. I went in when it snowed in the morning, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
That's the A-team. These people aren't doing bits. These people are... The youngest one, who they call kid, is 86 years old. These people have seen everything. A lot of them have been to war. A lot of them have had all sorts of medical struggles. They've lived real life. They've lost friends and loved them. They've seen life.
Right.
They're not doing bits anymore. They are gray, old, chiseled, and dead inside, just like I want them to be. And you know what's like kind of validating for somebody who's dead inside? Mm-hmm. Being a good bagger. Making those 18 things fit perfectly. It's the little things in life. You've already seen the big stuff, okay? You'll see the grandkids, in a month, whatever. Until then, we're ringing stuff up. We're knowing the PLUs for the freaking produce like nobody's business. We're the best at our freaking job. That's what we need.
Mark and Trish in the chat say they're with you on this.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, it's such the difference. When I go to the grocery freezer, I want old... I want dead inside. And I am going absolutely over to you because I know that you... And even...
Any chance if our daughter got a job as a grocery bagger that people would hear some of her bits?
Well, yes, they would. But also I think she'd be afraid to talk to strangers. So maybe she'd be a little reserved. As long as... But she wouldn't be entertained. She wouldn't be doing a two-step in front of them saying, look how interesting and new I am. She'd talk... at them and abuse them and browbeat them with her stories of what happened in her day, whether they liked it or not. Doesn't matter. The words are going to bounce off you if you're in front of... So anyway, I got that out of the way. Now I'm going to start the show part of the show, okay? Mm-hmm.
It's been an interesting weekend with Trump and...
Has it?
Everything. With, all the Somalis stuff.
Okay, so we'll start right there. Scott Bessent was on today.
He gave his administration people some work to do on the Sunday show. Put it that way.
Which is fine. You got to do it. They're having some hiccups here and there, and sure. So Scott Bessent is on there, and I just want you to hear. This is on Face of the Nation with Margaret Brennan. Most of this is going to be Ilhan Omar, but the last question or the last few seconds with Scott Bessent and Margaret Brennan are all you need to know about the media. All you need to know about the media. When an interviewer has to stop for a second, a la Ken Burns, and add some context and put an editor's note somewhere, you know that you're not being messaged to, you're being persuaded. So Scott Bessent says, it's just a little thing. This goes right into the Ilhan Omar interview, but I want you to listen to this part right here. You could tell it would come from a mile away. He's talking about the Somali stuff, and since he's who's he with? What's his title? SEC. What's Bessent's job? Do you know?
He's
the finance guy. Treasury, yeah. So the IRS is under him. So the IRS is sniffing out the stuff happening with the Somalians in Minnesota.
Off that state for billions of dollars. He said they contribute nothing. What exactly are you investigating?
Well, Margaret, to be clear, the initial fraud was discovered by the IRS, for which I'm the acting commissioner. It was discovered by IRS Criminal Investigations Unit. This was not an endogenous thing that the state of Minnesota decided we had to go in and clean up the mess for them, and this is part of the continued cleanup. A lot of money has been transferred from the individuals who committed this fraud, including those who donated to the governor, donated to Representative Omar, and donated to A.G. Ellison. But they've been transferred to something called MBSs. And those are...
Mortgage-backed security? What do you mean?
Sorry?
Transferred to what?
These are money the Bureau services, and they are wire transfer.
I had to just start it so you know that we're talking about the Somalia stuff. The part I want is coming up here. There was no good way to really cue this.
Organizations that are outside the regulated banking system, and that money has gone overseas, and we are tracking that both to the Middle East and to Somalia to see what the uses of that have been.
Okay, but you have no evidence of that money being used to fuel terrorism at this point, which is what some conservative writers are alleging.
That's why
Not
it's an
yet.
investigation. We started it last week. We'll see where it goes. But I can tell you that it's terrible. Representative Omar tried to downplay it. Said, "Oh, it was very it was very tough to know how this money should be used."
Yeah.
She was gaslighting the American people.
Well, we'll talk to her.
Yeah, but when you come to this country, you got to learn which side of the road to drive on. You got to learn to stop at stop signs, and you got to learn the not.
Do you think that Margaret Brennan's going to let that pass?
to defraud the American people.
Well, there are plenty of criminal behavior from communities well beyond the immigrant community. But we'll talk about this with Representative.
Just so you know, but hold on. Just so you know, just in case your message that some immigrants are doing this, you should know that people, it's happening elsewhere too, okay? Anytime you have to be treated like somebody's words by a guest might turn minds on, and she has to goal keep, well, hold on, other people do, no. That's not what we're talking about, Margaret. Right now we're talking about Somalis, okay?
Well, right. And we've talked about this before. Even if the rate is lower or something, there's no reason why we have to import and keep criminals here just because there already are some criminals in America.
Yes. But it's
that
this whole
doesn't
thing,
follow one from the other.
But the fact that she can't be impartial enough to simply do her job, that's what she's doing. You know what? She's doing bits. She's like the cashiers were, except she's doing this virtue signaling thing, saying, well, hold on, you're hurting people are hurt. You're hurting people by saying, stop it, hold on. There'll never be one of those in the favor of Republicans or hardworking people or whatever. It's always the people who are breaking the law. It's always the miscreants who gets this kind of cover, which is it's the Ken Burns effect.
If they... we're talking about Charlottesville and the people doing stuff in Charlottesville. Nobody stepped in to editorialize and say, well, immigrants do crimes also.
Right.
During that.
Some immigrants are racist. No, well, hold on. So now here comes Omar. This may go to an ad, which I'll just go right through. But in the car, anyway, went right into Omar.
Omar shortly. Thank you, Mr. Secretary.
Good.
We'll be back in a minute. Stay with us.
Okay, this is an ad. So let me...
Brought to you by
A Democratic Congresswoman, Ilhan Omar. Welcome to the program.
So just listen to her. Listen to her tune, the way she bobs and weaves. She's just a thug. She's just a grifting, frigging thug, and she doesn't care to. She's not practiced enough in covering it up.
We have a lot to get to with you, but I want to pick up on where the Treasury Secretary just left off. He alleged that people who were tied to you or your campaign were involved in this broad, brazen scheme to rip off the Minnesota state welfare system. Do you want to respond to that? Do you know what he is referring to?
I really don't, and I don't think the secretary himself understands what he's referring to. We obviously had people who were able to donate to our campaign that were involved. We sent that money back a couple years ago.
I don't believe
And actually, I was one of the first members of Congress to send a letter to the Secretary of Egg asking them to look in.
She says Secretary of Egg about 7 times. I assume that means ag. I assume, unless there's a Secretary of Egg I don't know about.
to what I thought was a reprehensible fraud that was occurring within the program.
So this
So I
was
assume
just
ag must be like food stamps. That
Yes.
must be what's
So,
falling under
yes.
that one. Because Dr. Oz has been on this too. They've defrauded every government agency.
Yes.
Basically, long story short.
So
Because
what
Dr.
was-
Oz is in charge of Medicare and Medicaid.
Right.
They've been ripped off by Minnesota Somalis.
So she like very subtly acknowledges the corruption and the grift that's going on, very subtly, but always pushes back away from it. There's no time does she turn inward and say, "Yeah, we got a big problem here that we have to do." It's never that clean. She says it in a way that gives enough room to say, "Oh, she's acknowledging it," but leaves enough leeway so that the grift can continue, which it is.
for our audience, the Biden-era Justice Department called it the largest COVID fraud scheme in the country. And this was pocketing COVID-era welfare funds, more than $1 billion in taxpayer money that was stolen. It was pretty shocking. Of the 87 people charged, all but 8 are of Somali descent. And that has added to the...
Notice Margaret can say it.
Yeah.
It's okay if she says it because she knows in her own heart she's a good person.
She already told us she knows that non-Somali immigrants also do bad things.
Yes.
spotlight being put specifically on your community.
By the way, that's the kind of question that like wouldn't really be asked 30 years ago. It would be, thugs are thugs, and it doesn't matter if my community, whose community. Like, why are we breaking down where?
Well, that was before the Democrats explicitly started supporting bad behavior if it's their guys doing it.
Yes.
Why do you think this fraud was allowed to get so widespread?
Well, I want to say, this also has an impact on Somalis because we are also taxpayers in Minnesota. We also could have benefited from the program and the money that was stolen.
Wait a second. So you're the victims now?
Yeah.
We're
The Somalis were the defrauded people.
Because we paid taxes. Yeah, but you stole the $87 billion. Yeah, but we also paid taxes. So in a sense, our tax money was stolen. Right, by you. But it was still stolen from us. Okay.
And so it's been really frustrating for people to not acknowledge the fact that we're also as Minnesotans, as taxpayers, really upset and angry about the fraud that has occurred.
Mm-hmm. So
She seems
do you
angry.
think,
Yeah,
though,
doesn't she?
that there was a failure by the Democratic state government to police itself? This is a brazen, fraudulent
This
activity.
seems like a really simple, teed up question. Do you think there's a failure by the Democratic state government to police itself because all the billions walked out?
And because a bunch of people have been walking around saying that they all knew, but nobody wanted to do anything because the Somali community was threatening them with being called racist.
Right, because Jacob Fry was learning the Gullah Lingli dance and freaking eating gach
Well, and
and
Mark-
puking on it to try to get votes.
Oh, it's hysterical. Mark says in the chat, Ann Coulter says she'll stop blaming all Somalis in Minnesota for this as soon as all living white people are no longer held accountable for slavery. And that's the point, right? Is like, you guys set up this system whereby we're on race teams and like we're supposed to notice which races are getting what and root for our race team to get more than the other race team. Like, this is the Democrat identity politics plan. Is if you're black, you're supposed to look around and say, wow, the white people are getting one over on me. And if you're whatever, that's the way they told everybody to look at the world. So you can't then be surprised that when a fraud scheme that's conducted by 90% people of your ethnic group has ripped off the taxpayers for billions of dollars, they think maybe this has something to do with the like racial team setup that you guys came up with. And so like, yeah, if you've been walking around saying white people this, white people that, white people slavery, white people America this and that, when your team in that mental construct then steals a bunch of stuff, now you get to be responsible for that too.
Well, you're right. And the only one person on the right really gets that and uses that exact structure to shoot back. And that's Donald Trump, which we'll get to in a second. Every single female weekend host let us know that he called them, what do you call it?
Garbage.
Garbage, right.
Here.
Yeah, and that is what I alluded to in my letter that I'd sent to the Secretary of Egg, was to see where things were
Secretary
going
of
wrong.
Egg.
How can this amount of money disappear fraudulently without there being alarms being set off? And it is something that, we have to continue to investigate. We have to continue to ask those questions.
Because, as you know, one of the initial defenses by the organization at the heart of the fraud, Feeding Our Future, was to claim the probe was due to racism. Do you think that this was all...
Before we get to the racism, which obviously I think she's going to jump at probably, can you imagine that? Our letter said to the Secretary of Egg, how did this happen? Well, I don't know. The people who did it are giving you money and going to dinner with you. So,
So why don't you ask them how it happened?
about negligence, or that it was like political fear of alienating the Somali community?
So you have to remember that the woman who led the program is a Caucasian woman. And that was her way.
aha! The woman who led the program was a Caucasian woman. Wait a second. The whites did it.
Oh, okay.
The Secretary of Egg
The
did
whites
it.
defrauded the Somalis.
And
I
the
see.
Secretary of Egg
Okay.
did it as well. And it's...
By the way, isn't saying, like, I asked the Secretary of Ag, how could this happen? Isn't that a little bit like, why were you out wearing such a short skirt anyway?
Well, yes. and also, by the way, the person in charge of the program was a white bitch. Just saying. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? So wait a second. Ilhan Omar, I know that you've trained most of these news people to be scared to death, but this little episode is not about white women, okay?
I mean, it is in the sense that, yes, white women are definitely part of the problem that allows this stuff to occur.
Yes.
I fully believe that white women were involved in all this fraud. Just like there were a bunch of white women involved in helping Monica Cannon Grant steal
Yes.
from people. I mean, like, the white women are definitely part of the issue here.
Of making sure that this would continue to happen by using whatever rhetoric that was available to her. We do know
The white lady made sure it would happen by using rhetoric that was available to her. Okay.
that when the money was stopped, they did sue the AG, Attorney General Keith Ellison,
Who also was a beauty in this, who also got all sorts of money from these people.
defended the department in that lawsuit. It was a judge that said it should continue, that money should continue to go out. And so this wasn't something that people were not looking at. There was always those alarms, and we will continue to understand where things might have gone wrong as these investigations continue and as these fraudsters are prosecuted and sent to jail.
Well, it's going to have impact for your community, because we've already heard the head of Medicare and Medicaid say they're going to have a new policy that applies to Minnesota. You heard the Treasury Secretary say they're investigating.
Now, she's not going to morph into victim mode here because she's been playing victim mode since the beginning.
This whole thing has been about white people victimizing Somalis.
But there's another thread here, because House Republicans and the Treasury Secretary just now talked about a link to terrorism, a possible link. He said they're just now beginning to look into it. How
So
confident
tell us how that hurts and traumatizes your community.
are you that that's a false claim?
I'm pretty confident at the moment because there are people who have been prosecuted and who have been sentenced. If there was a linkage in that the money that they had stolen going to terrorism, then that is a failure of the FBI and our court system.
Also run
The
by
FBI
whites.
and the court system did it.
FBI run by whites.
Sent the money to the
Supreme
terrorists.
Justice of the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, white.
Not figuring that out. And
How are we supposed to not steal it? They didn't stop us. We're gonna steal it.
This is an insane interview.
I know.
By an insane
basically
person.
charging them with these charges. And so I do know that for many years, this sort of like alarm that there is money being transferred through the airport in bags and going to terrorism that accusation has always existed. There's never been here and there in those accusations. But if that is the case, if money from U.S. tax dollars is being sent to help with terrorism in Somalia, we want to know.
Yeah.
And we want those people prosecuted. And we want to make sure that that doesn't
Did you ask them to stop doing that?
They're your friends.
ever happen again.
So there are 80,000 people of Somali descent in your state, but the president has been very focused, not just on them, but on you. In this extraordinary cabinet meeting, he said Somalis, quote, come from hell. They complain and they do nothing but bitch. Take a
By the way, that doesn't need context. Her saying they come from hell. Now, do we think that Donald Trump believes that Somalis come from like Hades, hell, devil, Beelzebub?
No.
Right. So can you color any more background for us, Margaret, other than the fact that it's not only Somalis who are rip-off artists? No. Yeah, see, he said they come from hell.
listen.
These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. We don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Thank you very much, everybody.
That knocking is...
So these are people who came from hell. So, by the way, I just want to, just for the hell of it, I decided to look this whole thing up, what Trump said. And so let me just see 1 second. Alice Shattuck.
Well, and I think his point is, too, that the U.S. taxpayers are very generous and have been very generous, especially generous since COVID, and that Somalia has not been particularly generous to Somalis. And if Ilhan Omar is a representation of the community, which she claims to be all the time,
Right. But
all she does is whine.
You might start, though, the quote from here.
Somalians ripped off that state for billions of dollars. Billions. Every year. Billions of dollars. And they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%.
So far...
So he's talking about the people who rip it up.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But that's not where Margaret Brennan started, because why would you start there? Now, there's more of this. I'll get back. Actually, we don't even have to get back to it. Oh, we could if you want. You want to jump back in? Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, what?
No,
What's
it
that?
looks like the spread shop, the burn barrel spread shop is not working. Oh, no. Why would it do that? Okay. Let's get back there for 1 second.
Vehement agreement from his cabinet members there. I just wonder what the reaction is in your district to have that
scared
from the
is
highest
everybody?
office in the land.
It's disgusting. It's completely disgusting. These are Americans that he is calling garbage. And we feel like there is an unhealthy obsession that he has on the Somali community, and an unhealthy and creepy obsession that he has with me. I think it is also really important for us to remember that this kind of hateful rhetoric and this level of dehumanizing can lead to dangerous actions by people who listen to the president.
And 95% of the Somalis in your state are U.S. citizens.
Yes.
Thanks, Margaret.
Just for clarity there. But the president has restricted all immigration processing, including asylum claims from Somalis already on U.S. soil, along with 18 other countries.
Nazis.
ICE reports it has
Undocumented, but people who have committed crimes and who should have already been sent out of the country.
I want to ask you about something else that the architect of
Had orders of removal. So these are not people who are in Minnesota. About 5 of them are Somalis. And from what I have read and from the people that I've spoken to, all of them had already had orders.
Sorry, she does the Nazis. So she calls,
failure to assimilate and sort of ruining America. How do you understand this?
I mean, when I think about Stephen Miller and his white supremacist rhetoric, it reminds me, yes, it reminds me of the way the Nazis described Jewish people in Germany. And you know, as we know, there have been many immigrants who've tried to come to the United States who've turned back, one of them being Jewish immigrants. We know the way that people were described who were coming from Ireland, Irish immigrants. We know the way in which people were described back then when they were Italian immigrants. And to me, you know, we're yes, of course, ethnically Somali. We are in this country as Americans.
Yeah.
We are citizens. We are productive part of this nation, and we will continue to be.
Congresswoman Omar, thank you for your time today. And we'll be right back with a lot more Face the Nation. Stay with us.
okay.
It is incredible. Like, it's such an incredibly midwit take. This, like, oh, they used to say this stuff about the Irish and Italian immigrants too, see? I mean, like, they assimilated, though, right?
Right. Well,
We
right.
also, by the way, I saw a fascinating statistic on a chart the other day that was showing how we are now not only at the highest, like, raw numbers of foreign-born people living in the country that we've ever been at, but we've also surpassed the highest foreign-born percentage of the country ever, including during, like, the great immigration waves.
Oh, really? So more people are living here who are foreign-born than...
Yeah, we have a higher percentage foreign-born population in this country now. I mean, we have the biggest foreign-born population as a raw number, and we have for quite a while just because the population's bigger now.
Right.
But as a percentage, we've now surpassed the height of foreign-born population, like of the great migration waves of the early 20th
Do we love
century.
that?
Well, I think it takes time for people to assimilate to a country.
Well, if they intend to assimilate.
Well, yeah, but I think that's like, I think that what the Biden administration has done, and I mean, like other Democrat and Republican administrations before that, is just allow people in willy-nilly and have no equivalent to Ellis Island. There's like no screening or vetting at all whatsoever, and just allow this stuff to happen.
Well,
And
there was screening at Ellis Island.
no, but I'm saying like we don't have the equivalent of that now.
Right. Yes,
What we've
incorrect.
done for the last few decades
It's
just we've like said F having an Ellis Island.
Yeah, it's the
just
asylum
anybody
loophole.
can just walk in
Yeah.
and claim asylum, and then their asylum claim gets denied 5 years later when they finally get a court date, and then they just stay.
And if you dare
And,
to
like,
notice, then the news is going to call you out.
Mr. Homan, the president said very clearly this week that he doesn't want Somali immigrants in America. He called them garbage.
There you go. Thanks, Dana. That's it. So you dare.
Yeah.
If you dare notice, if you get a problem, well, then you want to be like him?
Well, and what's fascinating about it is that they were all fine with all the letting of all the people in for all the decades. And then all of a sudden, when you start telling people they've got to go, there's like this hue and cry that this isn't fair and it's mean and they've been here a long time. Like, basically the message is that we're not allowed to undo all those years of just letting people in. And if the Trump administration doesn't stick to their guns and continue to remove people from the country, even if people decide to do acting bits on the side of the highway in Florida, screaming as they get arrested because they just refuse to comply with the police to show their license when they got pulled over like a normal human does, then the message is going to be, if the Trump administration doesn't stick to their guns, that like we're just never allowed to take people out of the country, that this whole thing is a game of capture the flag, where if you get over the line, then like now you're American.
Yeah. No, absolutely. The whole, and that's what it is. The whole asylum game is such a thing, and I've learned so much really recently by listening to some long form reporting and podcasts from the Main Wire, but also from just what's happening in Minnesota. There's been so many. It's a freaking BS scam. There's so much money going around. We are such fools, suckers, Alice, giping the occasional fork from IHOP compared to all the graft that's out there. All this money that you can get in between if you're one of these facilitating companies or organizations.
Yeah.
I mean, Monica Cannon Grants, where do they teach this? Like, she knew how to do it. She just got sloppy. I want that money. I want that money. I will do the fist up in the air thing. I'll do the trans thing. I'll do whatever it wants. I want taxpayer money to go to me, okay? I don't want it going to everybody else. I want it. All I get is $400 worth of EBT 2 years ago, whatever. That is not enough. I want mine. Alice.
Tomika Cannon Grant.
Yeah, I want to be Tomika Cannon Grant. I'm getting paid, as my prolific girlfriend said in 1993 when she faked a back injury when she was accident, and then had to build a case for personal injury for insurance, go to see a chiropractor who she didn't pay with, who she paid with sex. And I was like, Susan, don't you feel like bad? And she said, I'm getting paid. She was attractive, you know. Now I'm getting paid, all right?
Okay.
All right. Where are we off to? Anything else?
I think we should do the chat, and then we'll go to I have some stuff, but we can save it for the Patreon show.
By the way, I'm having trouble getting the Burn Barrel emails. Alice, I can get them right now, but we've gotten some emails, some nice letters, whatever. We'll get on that. Hopefully tonight I can maybe find them. I don't know what's going on. You give out, right, Alice? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, clearly I mentioned other people's names on these chats and I get nothing, so it's fine.
Come on.
Whatever. Want to mention me? They don't want to. It's fine. I will say this: I'm going to get away from making fun of Tom and Alice, and I'm just going to go stick with one thing that I think is going to come up in the next couple of days. These drug boats, the ones that are being just annihilated in the ocean. I cannot wait to hear the CNN report about what we're doing. What has the Trump administration done to this water? Contaminated this Caribbean water, this pristine Caribbean water. Oh, it's going to be great.
Billy, it's going to happen. They are now working primarily on the fact that the anchors, pundits, and Democratic guests are calling it just simply murders. These are murders by the administration.
Extrajudicial murders.
Murders of who, Alice? Shipwrecked sailors.
Oh, shipwrecked sailors.
They're using the term shipwrecked sailors. Trump is murdering shipwrecked sailors. Yes, that is what is happening. And technically, if they're holding on to the boat and you can't hit them again, and might not be able to hit them again, shouldn't hit them again, can't hit them again, war crime, shipwreck, murder. I don't give a flying F. I know that it's a tizzy and Hegseth, he lied and that he did a turtle thing. I do not think that any cabinet people should be doing turtle freaking memes. But fine. I have so little passion about caring about what's happening to drug dealers and their buddies on the high seas. Sorry about that. I don't care.
I think it would be really good if it became a lot less interesting to them to bring drugs into the United States that way, because there's a high chance they could just be blown up.
Yes.
You know, like I'd be fine if they just decide it's too risky. So, which I think is the point, is it not?
Yeah, and Trump likes it. That's right. And I heard people today saying George Will's and people saying this is a man who wants to embrace the Monroe Doctrine and show supremacy of the Western Hemisphere. I'm also fine with that. Okay. No, I will say that obviously the left is going to panic and like, are you okay with this? Blowing up boats full of drugs. I will say that Trump pardoning the guy from Honduras who had huge drug offenses, the former president, who we had in a cage in the U.S. I didn't know. I would absolutely like to know why he did that, because that seems to me to be total hypocrisy. And
Trump probably just like the guy, to be honest.
Yeah,
with you.
I think it's probably that simple. He doesn't care.
He's like, oh,
Trump
you
does
seem
not
nice.
care anymore what you think about him. I hate to tell everybody on the left, this is why it really be good for you to do something else. He doesn't care. And he's not going to go to jail. And you can try to mess... You try to put Trump in jail again, he's getting a third term.
Hey, Tom, Alice,
Hey,
Tom
Tom.
from Thomason here. Tom, I think everyone knows where I stand on the R word.
Yep.
I much more prefer moron, imbecile, or just stupid. But
the first two are
Also medical terms for the same thing.
Yeah.
Even I have to admit, it was kind of funny when I heard all those people driving by Tim Walz's house, because he is an imbecile.
Oh, that was so good.
And my buddy's far from stupid.
Yeah.
He has always voted conservative.
There we go.
And he's got a hell of a lot more brains than that stupid girl you played supporting that cold-blooded assassin who on video just assassinated that CEO of the healthcare company. That woman is an imbecile.
Yeah. No, she is, but there's a lot of them. They showed them today, all of them leaving court, and they're like, it's a horde of them, like 30 of them out there who love it. It's a sick society, but hey, I mean, just it doesn't.
Is there a reason why women seem to be like particularly susceptible to this stuff?
I don't know, but I know it's people are just emotionally. It's Gen X's fault. It really is. It is because people are. I remember the first kid in my class to come out. His mom called. I blew him off or something, whatever. I was a year older than him. He was a good kid actually. In Winchester, and he had gotten in trouble because he was an interesting cat, but he was weird, and so kids would beat him up and whatever, but I liked him, and we drove around and drank beers and stuff, and he had a party, and during his party, he like shot his shotgun into the ceiling or whatever. That was his decision. It was not a good decision. Somebody, I think, must have called the cops or whatever, and his mother called me on the phone and said, I hope you're going to still hang around with my son, who I liked, because like a lot of people won't hang out with him anymore. They have to know he has attention deficit disorder, and so like a lot of people think are a lot different. And he was just kind of ahead of his time. He was not like he just didn't. He acted different. He's bored.
Like 40% of Stanford students now.
Well, right. He just didn't. He just acted a little different, and so he was fun. But sometimes it can be a little crazy, and it didn't fit in with the norm of dumbass template of Winchester High dudes, where it was perfectly fine if you were a semi-professional date rapist if you lived in the rich side of town. I mean, those kids didn't have any judgment. That was fine. But if you were like a different, like kind of weird, and I'm sure he's then grew up to be an interesting adult, But then like not all kids fit in the same box here. So why did I bring this up?
I don't know why we were going. Gen X started the problem.
Right. That's the first time I heard of anybody being treated. And she said he was on medication. Put him on medication. What are we doing? What do we think you would do? Do we think that these bodies haven't evolved to learn to deal with some stuff? That some weird drug whose byproduct is making you less anxious is the way to go without knowing everything else is... Holy... These same people who take whole cloth, everything that climate alarmists tell them to believe, will take whole cloth everything that these psychos, who are getting paid, by the way, one way or another from these pharmacies, from Big Pharma, they're absolutely willing to take it. Yep, okay. Holy frig! God! At some point in all of this stuff, all of these drugs, at some point, there is a salesman involved who's convincing people at a nice dinner to prescribe his product, okay?
Right.
Oh. Remember, we were told that we needed to get Oxycontin. Everybody needed it 20 years ago. It was important. All the people in white coats told us how important it was. Go, you need some Oxycontin. He'll need Oxycontin. He'll need Oxycontin. Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Tom and Alice.
Hey, Justin.
IU has beaten Ohio State 13-10 to win the Big Ten championship.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Naysayers, it seemed like all season.
Love my Buckeyes.
The more I kept
No.
on
I don't love my Buckeyes.
You're
I love IU.
Yeah.
hearing into this game,
The Tartans. I love this. I'm a Tartan guy.
the more I was like, man, Ohio State fans are assholes. Just complete assholes. But,
Okay,
maybe that's not all of them, but the ones I heard. Anyway, number one seed.
Congratulations.
They were being doubted. Let's go Hoosiers.
Here we go. You know what? That's one of the very few things where I could be like, as far as passion for college sports, I could be the designated driver in that world.
Yeah.
No, it's okay. I'm not. I'll drive.
Hey, Billy from Manchester.
Hey, Billy.
I was no acknowledgement from Tim McCanton about me or Tom and Thomason, which I gave praise for, but it's fine.
Billy, I think people are afraid of you.
Well, I'll just sit there. I won't talk about the crazy stuff on the show. I'll go into more political mode, and I'll just say this: when does the first, newscast come out talking about the damage that we're doing to the ocean by shooting these drugs into it? That's going to be a funny one. That will be the best. For my next trick, I will talk to you about how environmentalists are now scared that we are killing the ocean. 49 seconds.
We don't usually get that. Billy did a cover of another Billy recording 2 days ago. I believe we already addressed this. It'll happen. It will happen, absolutely, Billy. Let's try another Billy.
Hey, Billy from Manchester.
Hey, Billy.
Like I stated before, I'm so glad Tim and Canton's back. I mean, and contributing regularly to the show. Makes me laugh, makes me happy. One of the good things about Kirk quitting. But Steve from Gloucester, I mean, he has disappeared faster than the Andrea Gale. And I don't know what's going on there.
Oh.
Good Lord.
Oh, you know what the Andrea Gale is, Albie?
That's the boat from the storm, the perfect storm.
And what makes that hurt even more?
He's from Gloucester, where that boat is from.
Oh, that was a nice hit on Steve.
Wow.
Steve, since Billy's right next to you, why don't you respond? Take him down.
Hey, guys. I turned 50 a couple weekends ago, and some of my friends took me out for an absolute bender of an afternoon.
There we go.
And at one point, someone snapped a picture of me and my girlfriend that would have been a great picture, except for how absolutely bombed I was in the picture. So I uploaded it to this AI program, and I said, fix my drunken eyes, and it did.
Oh, my goodness.
It came out great. I had to upload like 4 or 5 reference pictures so it knew what kind of eyes to put on there.
How cool.
But the picture it produced was really good. The before and after is just hilarilet's
send us the original ones, Mike. Come on. We can appreciate that.
It's really good at stuff like that. Well, I have some AI talk for the Patreon show right after this.
Hey, Billy from Manchester.
Hey, Billy.
I just got some stats from the last thimbleful of Shattuck show.
Yeah.
A total of 410,341 words.
Ooh.
341 by Tom, the other by Steve Rosenberg.
Okay.
There were 4 ums.
Right.
75 ahas. 6 by Tom.
So let me tell you something, Billy. I will have you know that my friend Joe Battenfeld of the Boston Herald, former Boston Fox 25 guy, he actually likes me making noises during interviews because he feels that it emboldens the speaker. That he's being listened to. So Billy, there might be something to it.
1 can opening, no kids, no dog, no wife, and
no, that wouldn't have been a can. That was a daytime. Was it a can? It wouldn't have been a can of anything good. It would have been a can of no.
At least 6 fake laughs by Tom, maybe 7.
Incorrect.
I mean,
our kids say you fake laugh too.
It's not true.
Bring VB back.
It might be the only thing that makes this show happen.
Oh, I had a great call with VB last night. I was laughing my ass off. I did a great bit.
Oh, you tried your joke on him?
Oh, yeah.
In the Patreon show, you have to tell the people your joke, and let's see if anybody in the chat finds it amusing. There was a lot of explaining and yelling at people last night for not getting the joke.
I will tell the joke. I called pretty much 10 people, including Michael Graham, VB, a bunch of people. Only one guy tepidly enjoyed it, but was also angry at me for it. So we'll do it. My bits had been hitting, but this last one, it was a rough response.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. We'll do Tom's joke on the other side. If you are listening on Patreon, just stay there. We will talk to you in a second. If you want to join the Patreon, that's where we have the live chat every day. There's some extra content each week, and all 3 of Tom's shows, the Burn Barrel, the Shattuck Show, and the All You Can Eat podcast, are available ad-free. Otherwise, if you just like listening for free, you can always find it at burnbarrelpodcast.com.
C'est la vie.